to Community Updates. I'm Victoria Straight.
And I'm Emmanuel Ortiz. This is our last episode of Community Updates for 2020.
We wanted to thank you all for the support and feedback you've given us towards the revised Community Updates program. We really do appreciate it, and we can't wait to see what 2021 will bring. So let's just jump right into updates. For state updates, the Cards for Caring initiative has launched. This initiative, in collaboration with Lori Trahan, Jim McGovern, and the Montechusett Home Care Corporation, will be gathering holiday cards with handwritten messages, which will then be distributed to the aging community across 21 communities in north central Massachusetts. With the aging population feeling more isolated than ever for the holidays, you can make someone's day by dropping off your card at the Montechusett Home Care Corporation's headquarters at 680 Mechanic Street in Leominster. If you would like more information, please visit montechussetthomecare.org/cards4caring. You can still apply for heating assistance in central Massachusetts. To schedule an appointment with the New England Farm Workers Council to apply for assistance, please call 413-272-2209. You can also visit partnersforcommunity.org. The Friends of Conant Public Library is sponsoring the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program, which will start on December 21st. The self-paced program's goal is to promote bonding through reading and to promote love of reading in children before they reach kindergarten. Participants who register will receive a keepsake journal to track their reading and will receive milestone stickers for every 100 books logged. Journals and stickers will be available through curbside pickup, and registration is required. You can register by calling Conant Public Library at 978-422-6409. And the Sterling Senior Center is sponsoring another grab-and-go event for Sterling residents. It's going to be on December 31st. You can pick up some New Year's Eve treats between 3 and 3:30 p.m. Reservations are required, so please call 978-422-3032 by noon on December 28th.
The next Crazy Crafternoon will be on Thursday, January 7th from 2 to 4 p.m. Crafters will be creating some beautiful New Year's cards. Registration is required, and you can register by calling 978-733-4076 or emailing coadmin@lancasterma.net. Their Memorial Library will be throwing a New Year's Eve party via Zoom on December 31st from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for children 8 and under. There will be stories, a dance party, and a virtual countdown. Party packs will be available for pickup starting December 26th after you register for the event. You can register by visiting theirmemoriallibrary.org.
And we here at SLCT like to keep things new and exciting, so every now and again we'll be switching up who does what segment on this program. So this week Lex is taking over on my bookshelf. She has an interview with author Ray Tatten.
Thank you to everybody at SLCT in the studio. I know that a lot of you are working remotely, and of course, as am I. I'm so pleased to be here with this week's guest, Ray Tatten. Now, Ray, you're a friend, an old friend, a writing friend that I've had for, it seems like forever, certainly for as long as I've been in the area. And I am delighted to welcome you because, as usual, you are doing a lot of writing, and you have shared with me some of the things that you have done both on YouTube and that you have available on Amazon. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to bring this to our viewers is, of course, this year with the pandemic, you know, we're all looking for gifts that are easy to get online, that are reasonably priced, and that really will give somebody some holiday cheer. So first of all, welcome, Ray. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lex, for having me. I've been looking forward to this. I enjoy talking to you.
And as I do to you. So tell me about the latest things that you've been doing and what's out there for people to listen to and read.
Well, when was it? I guess it was fall. There you go. It was this fall. I took a course. It was a short story intensive. So with Winona went at the Seven Bridge Writers Collaborative in Lancaster. I've been going there for a number of years. So this was a more intensive course. It was like 8 weeks. And the first week was, okay, try to observe some people and come up with 2 sentences. You know, that was easy. And then the next week was, okay, take those 2 sentences and try to interpolate that and kind of make a story. So that wasn't too bad. So that progressed until the last week was supposed to be, the culmination was a 4,000 word short story.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the people in the course were bringing their own work and they were working on that. And it was very interesting. So I was like, I might not go to the last week. I don't feel like I want to sit down and write 4,000 words. That's a lot of writing. So then I had the idea, I have this novel, Moving Willie, that we're going to talk about today. And I have some sections in it. I was wondering what I learned from the short story formula. I wonder if I could take that and compress it and make it into a 4,000 word short story and see if it held up. So I was kind of lazy about it, but I worked at it from that way. And I started thinking, oh, this is coming out pretty well. And so when I took it to class, the teacher, Winona, was just really enthusiastic about it. So that really made a big difference. I've been looking at these words for 10 years. So now she's seeing it for the first time and she's saying, this is really a good story. So it was a short story. So I sent it out to 5 or 6, 7 or 8 actually literary magazines, and one of them published it.
Mm-hmm.
The literary Adeline Literary Magazine. They're in Lisbon and New York. So they published it, but I figured I want to publish it too. So I made a book. I made an ebook. It's very easy to do. So I made an ebook and I made a print book and I posted it on Amazon. And then, as I was saying earlier, I've been kind of dabbling. I wanted to do some recording of the things that I've written. And I really wasn't happy with the way it was going. So I figured, let me just try to record it myself. Patrick, my son, had some software, so it came out pretty well. And I posted it up on a YouTube channel that I have. So I've been getting a lot of positive comments about that. So that's one of the big projects that I've completed.
And we are, of course, posting all the links to that. And, you know, yesterday when I listened to that on YouTube, really, Ray, I was just so pleased. Over the years that I've known you, how you've developed your voice, both as a writer and as a reader. But you said something interesting that I'd like to come back to. You said these were words that you'd be looking at for 10 years that you'd written. And one of the things that I think is happening with the pandemic right now is people are saying, okay, what can I do with my time? And of course, one of the things that people come up with so often, there's 2 things. There's cooking, but I think we've all made as many sourdough loaves as we can possibly make. And then there's writing. And I'd really like to focus on that with you because although I know this is not really pandemic related because you've done this for years, but how does one get going in that? How does one start to write or start to formulate these thoughts that have been in one's brain, as you say, sometimes for decades, and turn that into something? What advice do you have for fledgling writers?
Well, maybe the best way to answer that is to tell the story that you've heard before on how I got started. Very different than everybody else. When my daughter was 8 or 9, she wanted to take horseback riding. So I found a stable and I started taking her on Saturday morning. And I grew up on a farm. So I'm patting the ponies and I mean the ambiance of the barn and the smells and the sounds. And it was coming back to me. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was there. So along about that time, I lost my job. So I had all this mental energy that I didn't realize I could have. No job. What am I going to do tonight? So I went to the library and I sat in on a book critique group and you facilitated it. You
I remember that.
And so there was about 8 of us, 6 or 8 of us there, and we went around the room and you said, what makes a good story? And everybody was kind of a little bit reluctant to talk, and I raised my hand. I said, a character and a problem. Very good. That's right. Now, here's a blank piece of paper. We're going to start our own story. She passed it out. So I'm thinking, I think I should get up and run. This isn't what I signed up for. Yeah, but it was about 7:30, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I can tough it out and they won't get to me at the end. So I look around the room, everybody's writing like crazy. I mean, people had stories to tell. And I'm sitting there, like I said, I'm thinking maybe I should leave. So I'm like, all right, let me try something. So I reached for something that I just said, the barn, and I put down a sentence. That's no good. Put down another one. That's not too bad. Put a third one down. Well, that should go with that. Yeah, that part I should put on the front of that. So I fiddled with it for about 15 minutes. And I came up with 3 whole sentences. Meanwhile, these people have a page and a half each person. So then you made it worse. You said, who would like to read? I'm like, oh man, this is getting awful. So everybody went around the table and I was looking at my 3 sentences trying to determine if I could even read it. It was so disjointed, but I had arrows and circles. I knew where everything went. But so I go, all right, it's probably about 5 minutes to 8. I guess I'm not going to be saved by the bell. So I read it. And I was looking down at the page, and I didn't look up when I finished. And everybody was quiet. So I snuck a peek at you, and your mouth was open.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, wow, that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady next to me said, yeah, come on, write some more. I want to hear what happens. So I came home and I told my wife the story, and she was so supportive. She actually saw an article in the Fitchburg paper for a weekend writing course at the Fitchburg Art Museum, which I signed up for. Sally Cragen, you may.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
of course.
And I just felt like this is really what I like doing this. I liked reading what I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got started. And
yeah.
I could go on, but that's how it all began.
And you know, one of the things that when I've coached writers, that's always one of the things that I say, that one of the scariest things for a writer is that blank page or that blank screen, because you know it's all of a sudden very intimidating. Now I know that you've done a lot of work with Seven Bridge and in Lancaster. Do you, what is your feeling about working with groups like Seven Bridge? And they seem to have given you a tremendous amount of both support and education in what you do.
I cannot say enough good things about that group. And I found it, I didn't find it, my wife did, quite by accident. I've been going, it's been 5+ years now. And I've got some friends that are in it that I've told about it. And they're in it, and the programs are getting more programs. They're in like 7 or 8 libraries now, all virtual. And they have writers come in to present their work, and then they have critique groups. You know, I've been involved with the critique groups where you read a chapter of your novel and people cut it up in a good way. And now I'm in a group that I enjoy. I used to be with Winona quite a bit, and she would give you homework with a prompt, and I would do the prompt and take it to class. So you had, in that sense, you had time to fine tune it. Then I'm in a different class now, lately, with Lucinda Bowen, who you sit down, she gives you a few prompts. You can write whatever you want, but she gives you prompts to help. And then you write for 25 minutes. Then you go around the room, 6 or 8 people, and you read what you wrote. And the nature of that class is everybody's supposed to be positive. You know, Ray, I like what that part you wrote about that. I'd like to hear more about that. You know, so that's the way that group goes. So it's very back to advice. Just start writing.
Right.
Doesn't have to be good.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that, you know, people get lost in is the inner editor. Like, you know, you feel that everything that you put down needs to be, you know, perfect. It needs to be ready for publication, but that's
right.
how the process works.
Right.
You know that. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're afraid, what are people going to say about that?
Yeah.
Then once you get by that and you get some positive reinforcement, it's like you just go. What can I write
So,
about now?
so what can people find now on Amazon? And we will have the links up on the screen so people can go into this. So you don't need to read those off. But what is available of yours for people to read and listen to?
Okay. So based on the work I've done in these writing groups, I had a bunch of, I'll call them 300-word essays. Most of them were that length. So I assembled some of my favorites, some of which had been published, and I put them in a book, my first book. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And that's on Amazon. It's called And Another Thing.
Mhm.
Just saying.
I know it well. Mhm.
That's essays that I've just blurbed out there. Some of them I fine-tuned in class, others not so much. So I'm really surprised at the feedback I got on that, because I was doing it to just see if I could do it. Now, I was getting involved with KDP, which is an Amazon company, to self-publish. I was working my way through it, and it wasn't difficult at all. And then Linda made a nice cover for me, and came out good. I was real happy with it. So then I did the name of the short story I was talking about is Text Mostly.
Mhm.
Now, that's all true story. That's a true story from when I was a kid. And I mentioned before we started this that I tried to get somebody to read it.
Mhm.
You know, you post it on ACX, is the name of the Amazon company, and then people bid on it, and they record what you put up. And so you say, oh, that sounds good. But nobody was even close to what I was looking for. So I said, yeah, I just might as well do it myself.
Mhm.
Because I know what the boy was feeling and how he would have reacted. And so it was fun. It was really fun. So that's up. And then back to the first night in the library. That was 10 years ago, pretty sure. Those 3 sentences.
Right.
Then I kept writing and writing. And geez, maybe I should tell about, when I went to parochial school that year. Maybe I should tell about that. And I kept coming up with ideas to write about. And Linda came in. I used to sit in my chair with the papers there. And she came in one day and she goes, she goes, is that a manuscript? And I'm like, you know what? I think it is.
Mhm.
So I've had that for a number of years. I've taken it to critique groups. I've improved it. I've moved chapters around. And finally, and this I don't think is pandemic related at all. I mean, a lot of people say pandemic makes you do things. I decided, well, maybe it did in some way. I decided that if I don't put that book up,
Mhm.
it's not going to get put up.
Mhm.
I got to do it, or I have to leave it for someone else. That was the joke I made, but that's really the truth. So I focused on it. I work full time, so it wasn't like before when I was out of work, I could focus on all this stuff. So, I dabbled at it. I kept pushing it along. I got a nice cover, and then I put it together. So that's up now. That's called Moving Willie,
Mhm.
and it's the first 3 sentences plus another 72,000 words. So
That
it's a pretty
came
good.
up afterwards. And you just raised an interesting thing that I was going to say to you too, that you've done all of this while you've been employed full time. And of course, you have a family and a home to maintain and a puppy dog that you walk, I know. And so you have all of these other commitments of life as well, but you have still managed to do this. And I think that is fantastic.
Well, I think if you're enjoying something, it's not really something that you say, how'd you find time for that? I mean, you find time if you enjoy
Right.
it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I wanted to hold that. You're going to put it. I wanted to hold this book.
There you go. There it
I
is.
wanted to hold it, and
There you
so it's not gone with the wind. I know that, but it's there. It's done. Now I can move on to something else.
And isn't it a wonderful thing to hold in your hands something that is published and something
yeah.
you've done? It really is. Ray, one of the things that I really do miss with this pandemic is getting together with you and other writers to workshop things and whatnot. It has been such a delight speaking with you. And I really do urge our viewers, these are wonderful ideas for Christmas gifts and even just your own reading. Ray's stories are just fantastic. Ray is a longtime resident of Sterling, and just to see that growth, as you say, from that first workshop 10 years ago, to see what you've developed and what has grown has been just fantastic. So I really do wish you and your family a wonderful holiday.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. Same to you.
Thank you. And to our viewers as well, so lovely to have spent this time with you. This is my last news clip for 2020, the year that I think a lot of us will be glad to see out the door.
Yeah.
And I wish all of our viewers a very happy holiday season. And now it's back to the studio or remote or wherever you are, Victoria and Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you, Lex. We hope you have a good holiday season. As residents of Sterling and Lancaster, you most likely seen our schedule posted around town in various locations in the past. To keep our staff and community safe, there is now the option to have the schedule sent right to your email, along with our newsletter. To make sure you don't miss any of your favorite shows, including community updates, visit slctv.us/newsletter-signup.
And finally, all of us here at SLCT want to wish you a happy and safe holiday season. Thank you for all your love and support through these times, and we hope that we were able to keep you well informed about our great communities and maybe even put a little bit of a smile on your face. With that, we are saying goodbye to 2020, and we will meet back up with you in 2021. In our first episode back, we'll be walking you through how our media transfer service works, so start digging out those 8mm.
And we'll see you next time on Community Updates.